We bought a farmhouse. Now what? With our family on board, we moved ahead and purchased the farmhouse. Buying a home is stressful, and what we learned is buying a home during COVID takes stress to a whole other level. Every step and process felt like a hurdle, like there was a constant obstacle that kept getting in our way. 3 weeks prior to closing on the farmhouse, our turbulence began, and we are only now, 516 days later, feeling like we've finally landed. The project started with excitement and enthusiasm, but quickly turned to crippling fear and frustration. People would often ask me jokingly, "Are you still married?" The answer is yes. Scott and I remained a team and relied on each other often during this renovation. Truth is, we had to, because another obstacle of COVID is the isolation it created. I speak for myself that this experience, at times, would bring me to a dark place. I was scared. We were completely, utterly naive to the process and scope of the project we had signed up for. On a whim at the beginning of the project, I applied to HGTV's Farmhouse Facelift, and they called back, but unfortunately the farmhouse proved to be too old and too far gone for us to be a candidate on the show. So the work began, slowly, not nearly as quickly as we thought it would. It started with the drawings. The main floor of the house stayed pretty much the same, but the upstairs, the awkward part, got an overhaul. Having some preliminary drafting experience from school, I started playing with layouts, but I kept getting stuck with the second floor. My friend and neighbor Christy was able to help me through this hurdle. As a designer for Madame Homes, she came up with some really great ideas, a few of which were implemented into the final design. Thank you, Christy. Other design elements that we implemented happened purely by accident. After selling our home in Acton, we moved into a pretty bungalow situated on a quiet 3-acre lot. This home had a wood-burning fireplace and large covered porch, both of which we quickly decided we had to have created in our farmhouse renovation. Soon after taking possession of the farmhouse, we moved quickly to demolish the old, crumbling woodshed and had the 2 large walnut trees removed. While cleaning out the woodshed, I uncovered years' worth of history sitting idle, waiting for a second chance. A beautiful rocking chair, a first edition novel, several glass mason jars and bread and butter churning wooden tools, an old table, Timothy Eaton hutch, and 2 old trunks filled with family photos. Although it was necessary to remove the 2 walnut trees, I also knew I wanted to commemorate them somehow. Having previously worked on a magazine feature showcasing totem poles, I decided to create an owl totem with the smaller of the 2 tree stumps. Carved by Craig Thompson, a local award-winning carver, I gave him a hand-drawn idea, which he masterfully brought to life. Depending on the folklore you believe, owls are known for wisdom, protection, and good fortune. We can only hope. As the drawings were being finalized, demolition had also begun. Lath and plaster, unruly electrical, leaky plumbing, red floral wallpaper, all of it disappeared. We uncovered remnants of 3 old chimney stacks that had been decommissioned years ago, buried in the peaks of the roofline, and a 2-foot-thick double brick wall enveloped into the living room walls, which, once gone, gave us 2 extra feet of living room space. Yes! The house was now naked, and she was telling a story. The farmhouse had 2 dirt crawl spaces, which likely acted as doors for the mice and squirrels to enter. There was one under the dining room and the other under the living room, and we decided to cement them in to help keep the critters out. It took nearly 2 months for concrete to be completed. With the woodshed gone, the back wall of the house needed work, and it was best to recreate it. This left the east side of the home wall-less, and her gaping hole created the perfect parking space for the excavator. During the concrete process, Scott and I started reclaiming the old red clay bricks that had been sandwiched in the walls. They all had a beautiful patina, and we repurposed many of them for later use. In mid-March, I tapped my sugar maple trees and collected sap for syrup. Yard cleanup was, and will be, never-ending, and we spent every weekend tidying up and enjoying our property. It was these moments, alone with the trees and leaves and the neighboring cows, ever curious at their newcomer, that I really started falling in love with the home and what it could be. As spring approached, the stonemason began the tedious process of grinding out all the old mortar from the original brick walls and repointed the brickwork. The old wood windowsills were replaced with stone, and the exterior basement foundation walls were parged. We used our reclaimed bricks for the back porch posts and recreated a small wall in the kitchen which acts as a backsplash for our coffee bar. And there is a repointed archway in the powder room that once was a doorway or a window. The gingerbread that detailed the two main roof-lined gables had long been broken, but there was enough remnant that I was able to take measurements, and with the original farmhouse photograph, I rendered the shape. Creating a life-size template, I transferred my drawing to wood and cut out 4 new gingerbread gable details. Framing began in June, and these men made quick work of it. The entire roof from the 1980s edition was removed and new trusses installed. 3 of the 4 walls were also rebuilt, and the 2 roof lines in the mudroom removed and replaced with a taller version. During this process, I also got to ponder the pretty stuff. The kitchen, pantry, and laundry room was chosen first, and 2 separate trips to the tile and flooring store was all I needed to choose my finishes. We chose a sunset red wood-burning stove that sits on a tiled brown-gray hearth. Insulation, septic, drywall, that all came together in September and October. We were waiting for windows, which took over 4 months to arrive. Finally, in the month of November, windows came. We gave 2 months' notice at our rental home, and the push was on. End of January. Target date. Looking at our new home, it's gorgeous. A new home with old bones. In several areas, we have tried to keep the history and story of the home alive. We are the second family ever to own this property. The original owners, the Kerr family, purchased this land from the Crown. Forever cemented in the basement crawl space are the dates that the Kerrs owned the property, and then the Spences. Several furniture and accent pieces will be on display and used in the home, and at the entrance, hung on the original brick wall, a salvaged wall plaque. Welcome home.